that it's the right that's going to cause violence. It was Russia that was hacking in the election. Trump was obstructing justice. No, that was Obama. That was the left that's violent. That was the Democrats that were breaking the law. And Eric Trump went on Fox News and called out the left for what they've been doing, including their violent calls for assassination.
If you look at the Democratic Party, and I keep saying it, they're imploding. They've got no leadership. They've got no message. If you look at the the DNC, the DNC is half defunct. They've got no money in the bank. They have no operation. You look at the head of the DNC, he's quite frankly a nut job. I mean,
Debbie Wasserman Schultz, another nut job.
What is the Democrats' message right now? I mean, what are they running on? All they're doing is obstructing, and it's clearly not working because every race that comes along, every special election that comes along, my father is winning, and my father's out there saying, I want to take care of the military. I want to take care of vets. I want to take care of health care and taxes, and we want to bring back America. I mean, it's his message, very simple: make America great again. And politicians have really run this country into the ground.
How is it possible that they're getting away with this, Eric, that they are obstructing and not listening to what the tone of the people is and what the tone of the people voted for last year? They voted for tax reform. They voted for health care repeal and replace. Your father's agenda. So
because they're out of touch. They're out of touch. Half of them have never had real jobs before. Half of them have been sitting on a hill legislating for many years when they've never actually done before. I mean, my father is a practical guy. My father is a doer. He's a brilliant person. But we need to bring some practicality back to the United States government.
But look what this has led to. These celebrities out there that think it's okay for Kathy Griffin to be holding a bloody head there. And then you've got people like Robert De Niro saying, I want to punch him in the face. Then, of course, the most recent, you've got basically saying, I want to assassinate the president, Johnny Depp. Yeah. How do you deal with that? I mean, as a family, when you hear this stuff, at this point, does it roll off your back, or do you still get upset?
It has to roll off your back. Hey, listen, it's upsetting, sure. It has to roll off your back. I mean, I have a pregnant wife. She's 7 months pregnant. If you saw some of the comments that she receives from people, I mean, I couldn't even say them honestly on the air because they're so ghastly, but if they're willing to attack a pregnant lady, somebody who's 7 months pregnant, if they're willing to attack an 11-year-old boy, meaning my brother Barron, who's in the White House and at a fragile age, if they're willing to go after my half-sister Tiffany, 22 years old, who's going to law school, I mean, there is no borders for these people. I mean, listen, we're fair game, fine. We're adults, but I mean, there are no borders for these people. And you see Johnny Depp and what he said, I'd like to go assassinate, the president. It's like Johnny Depp has his own problems. He has his own problems. Yeah. Like, how about you go back to making movies and doing your own thing? I mean, this is a man who gave up his life to try and help this country, and he's doing a great job. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud of him.
Donald Trump's family represents him really well. But, Eric Trump said something that I almost lost my seat over. Practicality in the U.S. government? Are you kidding?
They don't see themselves as representing the American people. That's the fundamental disconnect, I think, because Eric is new to Washington and doesn't realize that these people represent themselves and the people who buy them. And they couldn't care less about what the American people want. So they're obstructing an agenda that could make life better for Americans. And at the same time, they're obstructing justice. And that's the key thing that Donald Trump was talking about earlier today. But we had this article come out. The actor who played Brutus in Julius Caesar doubled down, just in case you thought this is simply about the play, okay? He said the actor who played Brutus in the controversial production of Julius Caesar has depicted Trump's assassination, said each performance was an act of resistance. Make sure that you understand what that truly means, okay? When they get out there in a feeding frenzy and start screaming wildly and applauding as they see this surrogate for Trump being assassinated, being knifed, as they show the pictures of his head being cut off by Kathy Griffin, we know precisely what they're doing. They're getting off on this at a visceral level, and we know precisely what they are modeling for other people out there, disturbed individuals that they're hoping will take them up on this. And when you talk about this being Julius Caesar, as I said before, they're using the bard as a beard. This had, yes, the general storylines of Julius Caesar, but beyond putting it in a contemporary milieu, they also had things like Twitter. They had Melania there, obviously speaking in a Slovenian accent and so forth. As Lee Stranahan said, they should have just called it Orange Julius. you know, because it only has a twist of Shakespeare in it. But it truly was them acting out their perverse fantasies, and they continue to do that. And that's where I think the difference is. I mean, as I've said before, you know, when we talk about where we have freedom of speech and where we draw the line, and of course they're going to be talking about that with the Supreme Court in terms of the gay bakeries, and, you know, whether or not you can force somebody to bake a gay wedding cake. That's one of the cases that are going to be considered by the Supreme Court. When you look at rights in conflict like this, and you look at free speech and conflict, in my opinion, this is a kind of incitement, like if you were to yell fire in a crowded theater when there is no fire. And what they're doing is they're inciting hatred in the audience. They're, obviously, you can see that. I mean, this is like 1984, where they got the 2 minutes of hate. And they're inciting that, and what they're essentially saying is, fire at that guy that I don't like. Fire at him. And to me, that is not legitimate use of free speech, even in a theatrical area like this. Because, yeah, we've seen a lot of violence in Hollywood, but this is targeted towards people. And we've seen the result of this with the Scalise shooting and others.